Hello, hi, I'm Leroy Comrie, New York State Senator. Welcome to Comrie's Corner. Today we are going to have with us Assemblymember Nily Rozic, who represents the New York's 25th Assembly District. I'm proud to have her as one of my Assembly representatives. As you know, Comrie's Corner is a production that we do through my office in New York State government to try to give the advocacy folk and the folk from my district an opportunity to have some insight as to the inner workings in Albany. And we try to bring to you informational people that can teach you about what's going on in Albany and inform you about different concerns and legislation and policies. So welcome to another edition of Commerce Corner. Good morning, Assemblymember Rozic. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Great. Well, tell the audience a little bit about you and a little bit about your district.
So I represent the 25th Assembly District, which, little known fact, overlaps with your district,
Right.
your Senate district. And it's the neighborhoods of Hillcrest, Auburndale, Fresh Meadows, Oakland Gardens, parts of Flushing, parts of Bayside Hills, and Douglaston. I affectionately call it the Flushing to Fairway District because I've got the Fairway in Douglaston on one side and South Flushing in the other.
You go to the actual Fairway store in Douglaston?
Yeah.
And all the way to South Flushing and all the way down to parts of Hillside Avenue.
We sort of like wrap around the LIE
Wow,
from
okay.
exits 19 to 26 or
Okay.
27. And it's a great district. I grew up there. I went to local schools in the neighborhood, including Townsend Harris High School.
Right.
But I'm a product of District 26, that education council district.
Great.
And still live there. All my family still lives there, and we just love Fresh Meadows, so never left. And really have a love for public service. I ran for office in 2012, and I've been here about 6 or 7 years now, and I'm still loving
What
it.
steered you to public service? What got you, and did it happen in Townsend Harris? Did it happen in your parents' home? What got you excited about public service?
So I came from a family that really believed in repairing the world and community service. Certainly going to a school like Townsend Harris opened and broadened my horizons. We instill students who go there with an Ephebic oath that challenges people to leave their city greater than they found it. That is something that has kind of marinated with me for over the years and stuck with me. And I just really enjoy helping people, solving problems, not just identifying the issues. And I went to work in government straight out of school and have been here ever since.
What was your first job in government?
I worked on a bunch of different campaigns all throughout college, and I did every internship under the sun to figure out what I loved and what I didn't love, what I didn't want to do. And after college, I started working for now Senator Kavanaugh, but back when he was an assembly member. And I did what most kids do in public service. They start all the way at the bottom and worked my way up to be his chief of staff.
Wow. Well, that was my path as well.
Yeah.
So I worked for Archie Spigner. First, I volunteered in the Democratic Club. That's how he knew my face when an opportunity came up to fill a slot in his office. Because he knew my face, because I had been a super volunteer and came recommended by his previous person and a couple other community people. That's how I started working for him. So we both came from the ground up.
Yeah, and I think that that's something that your office, and certainly my office, but we share in common, that we also hire young Queens kids who want to get started in public service and in government, and then they go off and do amazing things in their own right. But it is a hub for people who want to get involved and want to get started.
Yeah, no, and interning young people, getting people exposed to the political process has been one of the hallmarks of what I've tried to do. It's one of the main tenets, and from my first hires when I was in the city council, they started with me as volunteers. Interns to even today, my communications person and my scheduler are both St. John students that intern for me, and they're now working for me. So,
there you go.
You know, and I have other folk that have been coming to volunteer and getting people and young people exposed to the government process is something that I believe strongly in. So we're here in Albany. We're in the last week of budget. Which committees do you sit on?
So many, they keep me busy.
Okay.
I'm on Ways and Means, which deals with budgetary issues.
Right.
I sit on Corrections, Labor, the Energy Committee, which I'm new to,
Okay.
and Corporations and Authorities, which oversees things like the MTA and
Right.
the Port Authority. And
Okay, so you
Yeah.
sit on some very powerful committees. You're in the middle of everything.
they certainly keep me busy.
It certainly keeps you busy. So what do you think about, since you sit on corporations and I'm the chair on the Senate side, what's your focus on what's going on with this congestion concern and the fact that we need to fund the MTA and the fact that you and I represent a variable transit desert where your community and my community has no direct subway link. We have to, people have to get to the subway either by bus or car or or find some way to, those that are lucky enough to walk to the subway still have one of the longest commutes in the city. What do you think about this whole congestion pricing issue that's coming up?
Yeah, and I'm a former commuter. It used to take me an hour and a half to get to Brian Kavanaugh's office every day, and that was just one way. It was like a bus to 2 trains. So I understand the plight of strap hangers and commuters, and I represent a district that doesn't have a subway station or a train station. So we really are in the what people call the last mile, first mile kind of zone, or 2-fare zone, whatever you want to call it. We are wholly dependent on our local buses, on our express buses, whether you're taking the 46 down Union Turnpike or the Q30 and 31 into Jamaica to transfer to the F. Like these are neighborhoods that have long been kind of on the back burner, right? No one really, they're out of sight, out of mind. No one really thinks about their transit needs, and so it's critical in whatever way we figure out how to fix the subway or fix mass transit that we're including buses into that, because what we've seen is, when you give people something like the Select bus service or Bus Rapid Transit, that can increase speeds from 15 to 23%, and that is a really big difference in someone's morning commute or evening commute home.
Oh, well, we're working on it. Hopefully, by the end of the month, we'll have some resolution to the issues of making sure that we have better bus service. As you know, the MTA is supposedly starting in April the Queens Bus Realignment Project, where they're looking at rerouting, and I'm sure that you'll be a major part of that.
April 5th. People should get ready. If they're on a community board or at a civic association, we're going to be bringing the road show to them.
And I believe it's going to be held at Borough Hall, so we'll make sure that folks will know about it. But clearly, that's one issue. But what's your favorite issue in Albany since you've been here?
So I work on all sorts of issues that deal with social and economic justice, whether it's low-wage workers or immigrant workers. But I think the other thing that I've carved out in my portfolio is around gender parity, because we're never really going to get to gender equity without gender parity. So I legislate on not just dealing with sexual harassment in the workplace, but also making sure that public authorities and boards across the state have gender parity. Up until recently, things like the Port Authority Board or the MTA Board didn't have women on there. So I think that's a really critical piece. This year, I also passed legislation that would increase coverage, insurance coverage for young men and women who are suffering from eating disorders. That has been something that I've been really passionate about too.
That's important to get that message out so that they can get the help that they need.
Yeah.
So in your district, what are the primary issues that constituents are coming to you about? Is quality of life stuff, immigration stuff? What are your primary issues that?
Yeah, everyone cares about paving the roads, filling potholes. I would say education is a big deal in our communities. We have some of the best schools in the city, and we want to keep it that way.
Right.
And certainly bringing the resources into districts 25 and 26 will be a big deal, not just through the budget process, but going forward, like helping everyone get on the same page and succeed, and I think that's really important.
Okay. And you have two great school districts, 25 and 26. They're two of the best in the city that you represent. So to continue that beat is important, even with a changing population. They still have parents that, no matter where you come from, you want your children to succeed. So you also represent your offices on Union Turnpike. And can you tell me what kind of traffic do you get through there?
I mean, we get young and old from all sorts of backgrounds. I pride myself on having a staff that speaks a lot of different languages, because that's really critical. You can walk into my office on any given day and someone's, speaking in Mandarin or Korean or Spanish, and that's a really important piece, because people need to feel like they can have government at their doorstep and in their first language, and feel comfortable approaching government resources in that way.
That's good. And your staff, when you're not there, like we're going to be up here for the next, hopefully, only 7 more days till the end of the year. How do you manage your office being away from your office so much during the first 6 months of the year?
I mean, I've got a great crew, and we're in constant contact and communication, and I think people trust that they are getting the job done, and that they are our surrogates, at community board meetings or whatever.
Well, just back to legislation, what other, you're currently sponsoring multiple healthcare related bills, including a bill for protecting family planning, bills regarding cancer screenings, a bill to protect healthcare under the Affordable Health Care Act, and what more can New Yorkers do to ensure that our citizens can enjoy healthcare as a human right?
It's a big deal, right? Ever since the ACA passed, and in the last year, though the federal government sort of stopped advertising the ACA and its availability, what we saw in New York was that there was almost a 10% increase in people signing up for the ACA. So I think it's really critical that we continue to expand coverage and get people the services that they need in the language that they speak, because that's a big part of it, right? If you're going to the Charles B. Wong Health Clinic in my district, or you're going to New York Presbyterian, we need to have services that are available to you.
Gotcha. And just to talk about healthcare in Queens, we're underbedded in Queens, and there's a real need to build another hospital, actually. I don't know how we can do that, but we're committed as a Queens delegation to try to make that happen.
Absolutely.
What's your relationship with your local hospitals? Do you have a relationship with your local hospitals?
Yeah, they're great.
Okay.
And we're lucky that we still have them, right? We still have Flushing Hospital. We still have the old Booth Memorial, now New York Presbyterian, and that we get the services that we need. But it's a county-wide issue that we have to work together on.
Right. And then just final question, you're one of 150 plus members in Albany. How do you make sure that your opinions are heard in that membership?
So when I mean, it's a very empowering system. Certainly our speaker helps with all of that. And I knew from day one coming into the legislature that my vote is just as equal as the person sitting next to me. And I think that that's a really critical piece in knowing who you represent and what you're here for.
So you make sure that you're always counted among one of the primary voices that are heard in Albany.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting space. I really want to thank you. I can't believe our 15 minutes are up already.
We can do this again.
We can do this again. Thank you, Assemblywoman, for enlightening our viewers. I want to thank you for coming on to Comrie's Corner today, and also I want to thank you for the great work that you're doing in the Assembly, and you've been a great teammate as well. I appreciate our collaboration. I look forward to continuing it on behalf of the residents of Eastern Queens. Thank you for listening to another edition of Comrie's Corner. Have a great day.